Factoring quadratic equations, Part 2. When A equals 1 and C is negative. A is the coefficient of x squared and C is the constant. So here's x squared plus 2x minus 3. First you have to factor the 3. The only factors of 3 is 1 times 3. Then you subtract. 3 minus 1 equals 2. We have two parentheses. Because x squared has a coefficient of 1, it's x times x. Now, 3 minus 1 is 2. The middle term is 2. So our factors are 1 and 3. Now the sign. To get the end term of negative 3, we're going to have a positive times a negative gives us a negative. So either the 3 or the 1 has to be negative. How we determine is by the middle term. The middle term is a positive 2, which means that we have to have more positives. The larger number has to be positive. So it's going to be plus 3 minus 1. So the end term is negative 1 times a positive 3. Negative 1 times a positive 3 gives me a negative 3. The middle term, 3 minus 1, is positive 2. X squared minus 2x minus 3. So we've already factored the 3. So we have the two parentheses, x times x. We know that our factors are going to be 1 and 3, because 1 times 3 gives me a 3. But now the middle term is negative. The middle term is negative. So the larger of the 1 and the 3 has to be negative. Makes the 1 positive. Because minus 3 plus 1 equals negative 2. There's our middle term. X squared plus 4x minus 12. Step 1, factor the 12. So 12 is 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. Then subtract. 12 minus 1 is 11, 6 minus 2 is 4, and 4 minus 3 is 1. Two parentheses. X, x. The middle term is 4, so that means we have to use 6 and 2. 6 and 2. Or you can write 2 and 6, doesn't matter. The middle term is positive. So that means the larger of the two numbers between the 6 and the 2 has to be positive. Oops, and that should be a negative. Because 6 minus 2 is positive 4. That's our middle term. Let's look at the other example. X squared minus 4x minus 12. We've already factored the 12. We don't have to factor it again. First term is x times x. Now our middle term is still 4, so we still use the 6 and the 2. But now the middle term is negative. So that means the 6 has to be negative and the 2 positive. We have minus 6 plus 2 is negative 4. See, our middle term is negative. Another example, x squared minus 11x minus 12. We've already factored the 12, so we have the two parentheses, x times x. Now, the middle term is 11, that's 12 and 1. 12 minus 1 is 11. Now, 1 times 12 is 12. The middle term is negative, So that's negative 12 plus 1. Minus 12 plus 1 is minus 11. There's our middle term. X squared plus 11x minus 12. The two parentheses, x times x. We're still using the 1 and the 12 because 12 minus 1 is 11. But now the middle term is positive. So that means the larger the 12, the larger of the two, has to be positive, and the 1 negative, because 12 minus 1 is positive 11. X squared plus x minus 12. We've already factored the 12. Two parentheses. Still x times x. Now, 4 minus 3 is 1. So we have the 4 and the 3. Our middle term is positive, so that means the larger of the 4 and the 3, the 4 has to be positive and the 3 negative. 4 minus 3 is 1. There's 1x. X squared minus x minus 12. Two parentheses, x times x. We're still going to use 12 and 4 and 3. And it doesn't matter whether I put the 4 first or the 3 first. I'm going to put the 4 and the 3. But now the 4 has to be negative because the larger of the two between the 4 and the 3 has to be negative because our middle term is negative. Minus 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Negative 4 times positive 3 is negative 12. There's our last term. To get a negative for the last term, we always have to have opposite signs. Positive, negative, or negative, positive. Another example. X squared plus 16x minus 36. We have to factor 36. 36, 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9. Those are the factors of 36. Then I subtract. 36 minus 1 is 35. 18 minus 2 is 16. 12 minus 3 is 9. And 9 minus 4 is 5. So the middle term will have to either be 35, 16, 9, or 5. If it's anything else, it won't factor. X times x, our middle term is 16, so our two factors are 18 and 2. The middle term is positive, so it's positive 18 minus 2. 18 minus 2 is 16. Positive 18 times negative 2 is negative 36. X squared minus 35x minus 36. We've already factored the 36. 36 minus 1 is 35. So I use 36 and 1. It's a negative 35, so the 36 has to be negative, the 1 positive, because minus 36 plus 1 is negative 35. X squared plus 35x minus 36. Two parentheses, x times x. We're still using the 36 and the 1, because 36 minus 1 is 35, but now the 35 is positive, so 36 has to be positive, and the 1 negative. 36 minus 1 is positive 35. X squared plus 9x minus 36. Again, we've already factored 36. So I look up here at my factors, and 12 minus 3 is 9. So I'm going to use this. 12 minus 3 is 9. Use the 12 and the 3. Well, the middle term is positive, so the 12 has to be positive, and the 3 negative. 12 minus 3 is positive 9. X squared minus 9x minus 36, do parentheses, x times x. We're still going to use the 12 and the 3, but now the 12 is going to be negative and the 3 positive, because negative 12 plus 3 is negative 9. And the end term, again, negative 12 times positive 3 is negative 36. X squared plus 5x minus 36. X times x. Now, the middle term is 5, so we're going to use 9 and 4. We're going to put 4, 9, because it doesn't make any difference whether it's 9, 4 or 4, 9. But the middle term is positive, so the 9 has to be positive, the 4 negative, because 9 minus 4 is positive 5. X squared minus 5x minus 36. Two parentheses, x times x. We're still using the 4 and the 9. Now the 9 has to be negative because we have a negative middle term. Minus 9 plus 4 is negative 5. So there's factoring a quadratic where a is 1, that's the coefficient of the x squared, and your constant, the c, is negative.